Welcome to the Sports Watchdog radio show, hosted by Mason Kern. He keeps his nose to the ground to report on what's trending in professional and college sports, to inform, enlighten, and entertain. And now it's
the Sports Watchdog.
The Sports Watchdog, Mason Kern.
Hey everyone, welcome to the Sports Watchdog radio show on NBC Sports Radio AM 1060 Phoenix. I'm Mason Kern here with you every Sunday from 7:30 to 8 a.m. Obviously, I'm certainly glad you decided to join me this morning. And as always, I do have some great stuff in my kennel. Today we're going to be talking to NASCAR Champ and 2017 Daytona 500 winner Kurt Busch, as well as 21-year-old Arizona Coyotes left wing Brendan Perlini. And I'll also be covering some sports hot topics and, for you basketball-specific fans, interesting happenings on the hardwood. We start off with some troubling news from the NBA. It's been reported in a Sports Illustrated story that Dallas Mavericks president and CEO Terdema Ussery has been involved in inappropriate conduct with some of his employees. Not just females, but with some males as well, reportedly. And it's really sad because this kind of brings into question the whole culture of the organization. It's being reported multiple women have reportedly come forward claiming that Ussery has been inappropriate with them. Current employees, former employees, employees who have since retired because of these incidents reportedly. And allegedly, Terdema Ussery has been making advancements, been very inappropriate in terms of his speech and his language with his employees, causing them to quit, causing them to retire from their profession that they probably loved because of his actions. And obviously we're at a point in society, the Me Too movement is a huge thing right now, which is probably a big motivating factor for some of these women to come forward. And at the end of the day, it doesn't really matter how these women are coming forward as long as their stories are true. Obviously, Terdema Ussery is not guilty until proven as such. He's innocent until proven guilty. That's how we do things here in the court of law. But I mean, with all of these women coming forward, making pretty legitimate claims, alleging kind of the same thing, it kind of calls into question the culture of the organization, the culture of the NBA, because now it brings into question, is this going on in other organizations outside of Dallas? Is this happening across the entire NBA? Are more people going to come forward? I mean, we're just going to have to wait and see the fallout and the consequences as the Dallas Mavericks do their own internal investigation, as the NBA does their own investigation, and we'll have to see. But it is pretty troubling stuff coming out of the NBA at this point in time. Now up to bat, we do have some MLB offseason signings, and there were some major changes in Major League Baseball this week. Well, starting off, the San Diego Padres acquired first baseman Eric Hosmer. Obviously, he was linked to the organization for some time now. They finally agreed to a deal, an 8-year, $144 million contract. Let me repeat that. That's 8-year, $144 million, and that's fully guaranteed money. So no matter what happens over the course of the next 8 years, Eric Hosmer is going to make $144 million. And that's big risk on the part of the San Diego Padres, especially because Hosmer is already 28 years old. He'll be 36 by the time his contract expires, and who knows how much production he'll be able to give this Padres organization down the line. He had a breakout year in Kansas City last year. Obviously, he does have a lot of talent. I don't know if he's necessarily a great player, definitely a good player, borderline great player, but we'll see how much production he can give this Padres organization up ahead. Now, JD Martinez was in a heated contention between Arizona Diamondbacks and the Boston Red Sox this offseason. Well, he's decided where he's going to play for the next few seasons. He's signed a 5-year, $110 million contract with the Boston Red Sox. He's leaving Arizona, going to Boston, going to play for the Red Sox. And his contract not fully guaranteed. He'll make $25 million his first year, or first and second year, I should say, and then that value decreases to $22 million should he not opt out. If he opts in for the third year, it's $22 million. The last 2 years, if he opts in again, decrease to $19 million. So in my opinion, I think he will probably opt out before his contract expires, try to get more money again. He did get $10 million more because he stalled Boston of their original offer of $100 million, got that up to $110. So Boston, they had 90-plus wins last year, and JD Martinez hit 45 home runs. their offense immediately bolstered because of this signing. And in response, the Diamondbacks did make some trade moves in a 3-team deal with the Tampa Bay Rays and the New York Yankees that most notably sees Tampa Bay Rays outfielder Steven Souza gets traded to the Diamondbacks. And in response, outfielder Brandon Drury from the Diamondbacks is going to the Yankees, while left-handed pitcher Anthony Banda from the Yankees and 2 players to be named later from Arizona go to Tampa Bay. So the Diamondbacks really just needed to re-bolster their outfield after losing Martinez, and Souza won't entirely replace JD, obviously, nor his 45 home runs, but it's a good start. Obviously, Souza will make an impact in Arizona. We'll see how much of an impact he is able to make. And additionally, in the deal, minor league second baseman Nick Solak went from the Yankees to the Rays. And then lastly, Yankees sent right-handed pitcher Taylor Widener to the Arizona Diamondbacks in the deal. So we'll see how much of an impact these players are able to make up ahead. Obviously, some big news with Hosmer and JD Martinez going to 2 different locations. Now we check in on the UFC octagon now. Conor McGregor is reportedly making his return to UFC, or so he proclaims at least. He's called out the UFC as he reportedly put his name in the mix to replace Max Holloway at UFC 222 in the bout that was going to be between Holloway and UFC lightweight champion Frankie Edgar. Now, it's also been hinted that Floyd Mayweather was taking shots at McGregor and kind of poking the bear per se, that Mayweather might make an appearance in UFC, obviously posting videos roasting McGregor on social media and such, and McGregor obviously not rolling over. He posted some videos and some comments as well. And it would be very interesting to see Floyd Mayweather and his undefeated boxing record make its way to UFC, because obviously in the bout between McGregor and Mayweather in boxing, Mayweather took the victory in a decision, but that was McGregor coming over to Mayweather's domain. I think if Mayweather came over to McGregor's domain in UFC in the octagon, it would be a completely different story. I think McGregor would sweep the floor. Mayweather would have nowhere to run. And if McGregor took this fight to the ground, I think it would be all over. I think it'd be a KO. McGregor would take that victory. But as always, hit me up on social media and let me know what you think about these and other trending sports topics at A Sports Watchdog on Twitter and at The Sports Watchdog on Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube as well. But for now, we'll just take a quick break. The Sports Watchdog Radio Show on NBC Sports Radio AM 1060. We'll be right back after this.
Hey gadget lovers, the DRL Nico Air Force Vision 220 drone is the ultimate toy quadcopter. Its 5.8 GHz analog frequency gives pilots real-time video transmission without delay or interruptions. A full-color LCD screen and first-person view goggles provides an immersive flight experience from the cockpit of the drone. It's designed for all skill levels with 3 variable flight models, multiple speed settings, and 16 one-touch stunts. Find it at Target.com.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back. Once again, you're listening to the Sports Watchdog Radio Show on NBC Sports Radio AM 1060. I'm your host, Mason Kern, and joining us now is Kurt Busch, the 2004 NASCAR Monster Energy Cup Series champion, 2017 Daytona 500 champion, and 29-time winner of NASCAR's Monster Energy Cup Series. Quite the pedigree, to say the least. Kurt's legacy reflects a racer with raw, natural talent paired with desire, versatility, and a team player spirit that continues to make him a force to be reckoned with on the racetrack. Known as a highly technical driver, Kurt has raised the bar for everyone around him, and even NASCAR as a whole. His career highlights abound. Kurt certainly made a splash after taking on Jimmy Johnson and beating him by 8 points in the 2004 NASCAR Monster Energy Cup Series thrilling NASCAR Championship. Also in 2014, he became the 4th driver to do the double, 500 miles at Indy and 600 miles at Charlotte in the same day. He did his NASCAR team proud by gaining Rookie of the Year honors and finishing 6th in his first open wheel race ever. Kurt has also represented the USA in the Race of Champions multiple times, has competed in the NHRA and rally cars, and has realized wins in all NASCAR-sanctioned competitions. So Kurt is here to drop some intel on the fast-paced world of NASCAR and what to expect for the 2018 season. Hey Kurt, welcome to the Sports Watchdog Radio Show.
Hey, man, thanks for having me on. I appreciate the intro, and it's good to talk to you guys.
Yeah, thank you again so much for joining us today. So, first off, before we talk about racing, I know that you recently raised money for the victims of the Las Vegas shooting that happened a few months ago. So, what about this particular event motivated you to kind of get involved and help out in this way? And how important is it to give back to the community in general?
Well, what a tragic event in my hometown of Las Vegas.
Yeah.
And to read the news and to hear the stories, I mean, it just was horrific. And it's easy to get involved and to be somebody that can make a difference and give back to a community when you have different notoriety. And mine comes from racing in NASCAR and being a motorsports guy. And for me to jump in with Vegas Strong and helping out with the concert and different fundraiser events, it was great to make a difference and give back to the community and try to help boost the spirits of everybody in Vegas after such an event.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, that was such a tragic occurrence, and it's really commendable that you were able to give back in that way. Now, shifting a little bit now, getting into the professional side of your life, what would you say does a typical day during a race weekend look like for you?
There's different race days, whether it's a day race or a night race. Most weeks, the way that our NASCAR circuit works is we travel on Thursday, and then there's practice and qualifying sessions Friday and Saturday, and then we race on Sunday. And so there's different sponsor events in the morning, drivers meeting, different media hits here or there. And most importantly, though, it's getting strapped in and focused on the race when race starts. And, most of our races are 400, 500 miles.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's a marathon pace that you build up towards. So a lot of hydration, stretching, cardiovascular work during the week, and strength training. So it's a pretty busy schedule.
Yeah, definitely. I can imagine how busy it truly must be. And I know, and I do understand that NASCAR kind of changed their scoring system. So what was your initial reaction to the change? Do you feel that it would make younger drivers more aggressive by racing to the last lap of their respective stage instead of kind of looking at the big picture and taking the checkered flags at the end of the race?
Yeah, the way our races are now broken up into different stages, you have the opportunity to earn points in stage 1 and stage 2. And then there's still the double amount of points at the end of the race. So the end is still the most important. But if you gather some points early in the day, and let's say you wreck out going for the win at the end, it doesn't hurt you as bad in the points standings. So it works both ways. It can hurt you, it can help you, and it breaks up the long 500-mile races into 3 shorter segments.
Yeah, I'm sure. I mean, that's definitely a little bit more manageable instead of going all at once. And obviously now, Kurt, NASCAR is a sport that requires a tremendous amount of focus and skill. So, and there was recently a pretty nasty wreck in Stage 1 of the Daytona 500 that you took part in and actually won Stage 1. So what kind of impact do these wrecks have on the drivers competing both during and then after the race ends as well?
Well, I mean, wrecks have happened all throughout NASCAR since the beginning of time. And then, just as soon as last weekend ended, it's one of the safest situations we've ever been in because of all the technology that's been poured into our cars over the decades, whether it's the track itself with the safer barriers, whether it's the seat and the foam and energy-absorbing material, and then one of the most simple inventions ever that's protected the drivers is a HANS device. Everybody's pretty safe. You're out there racing hard, and you never think about the danger side of it. You always think that you're the safest person out there with everything that's going on.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, the technology has definitely improved over the years, so I would agree it's definitely a lot safer. And now, Kurt, looking ahead to the Atlanta Motor Speedway and then in March 11th when you come to Phoenix, what do you expect after a convincing Daytona 500?
I think everybody now jumps into the regular season, and you're going to see, the Toyotas finished the season incredibly strong last year. Chevy's got a new car built. For us at Ford, we've gone through our transition at Stewart-Haas Racing to make our cars better. So this is, these first 4 or 5 weeks really give you that impression on how the season's going to go. And this is where you got to be at your best right at the beginning to build your point space up and to go through as many ideas with the car setup as possible.
Definitely. I mean, Season's just getting started. Gotta get all the points you can. I understand that. And, well, I assume your profession can be a bit all-consuming. I mean, we talk about how busy race day is and such and how much NASCAR drivers have to do. What would you say you take part in outside of just racing? Where do your passions lie? I do understand you're a Cubs fan as well.
Yeah, man, you got to have that time away from the track. The travel is definitely tough in our circuit, but I love to travel, and if I can go to a city early and catch a baseball game, that's always great. I'm a big Chicago Cubs fan, and we've been hot the last 3 years. And, golf with buddies, and most importantly, spending time with my wife. And she's in the outdoor sports world with polo. And so I love to go to the barn and be there with her team and the different players and trainers and the athletic side of her polo. It's neat to spend time with her and share that experience. Yeah,
definitely. I mean, family is very important for sure. And Kurt, looking ahead now, what can fans expect from you in 2018 or even beyond? What does the future look like for Kurt Busch? Do you have any particular goals in mind? Or
there's so many races to be won out there. There's so many big races. We just missed out on Daytona, leading the Daytona 500 with 2 laps to go, and we got wrecked out. I hope I can win in my hometown. I'd love to win with you guys out in Phoenix, Atlanta. You never know when your chance is going to be, and you have to be ready for it and prepared for it. And then there's different opportunities within TV, whether it's live commentating, different TV shows, movies, commercials, you name it. And then one cool thing on my personal side is a Ford GT is getting delivered in the next month, so I can't wait to go and drive around in it.
Definitely. I mean, that's pretty exciting. It's good stuff. Definitely, Kurt. Thank you so much. Great advice, and I'm sure many of our listeners definitely will take all of that to heart. And good luck with the rest of your season, all that you have coming up ahead, and congrats on all that you've already achieved throughout. Where can our listeners go to kind of keep up with you?
My social feeds are at Kurt Busch. My website is kurtbusch.com. And then, of course, every Sunday or Saturday, there's a NASCAR race on Fox or NBC. And just, and then there's my wife's polo, and her feed is Mrs. Ashley Busch. That's where you can catch up with her on Twitter and Instagram. So I appreciate everybody listening in, and travel well, eat well, and enjoy life.
There you go, guys. The great advice from the Kurt Busch. All right, everyone, the Sports Watchdog radio show on NBC Sports Radio AM 1060 will return after this quick word.
Want to whittle your waistline and start each day healthfully? Try delicious Barley Plus bars, which make eating nutritiously easy. Study shows that adding 1 serving of cereal and 1 bar to your daily diet can support weight loss. Barley Max is the secret weapon. An Australian supergrain and Barley Plus bars containing high-quality prebiotic dietary fibers that feed the good gut bacteria, keeping you healthier and happier. Find them at Amazon.com.
Hey there, once again, you're listening to the Sports Watchdog radio show on NBC Sports Radio AM 1060 with me, your host, Mason Kern. Joining us now is Brendan Perlini, pro NHL player for the Arizona Coyotes, who selected this English-born 21-year-old Canadian in the first round of the 2014 NHL entry draft. Last season, Perlini played 57 games with the Coyotes and had 14 goals and 7 assists in his first year in the NHL. This year, he already has matched those numbers with 16 goals and 7 assists. Throughout his NHL career, he achieved 28 goals scored in 100 games, which is a Coyotes record. He now has a total of 30 goals across 108 games. So I'm definitely excited to hear from this high-caliber Arizona athlete, and I'm sure you all are too. So with that, hey, Brendan, welcome to the Sports Watchdog radio show. Glad you could be here.
Thank you. Thanks a lot for having me on the show. I appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you again for taking the time. So first off, Brendan, can you just tell us a bit about your early years? How did you kind of first get into hockey, and when did you realize this is the kind of the sport that you could kind of pursue as a professional?
Well, I think it was a family thing. Both my grandfather and my dad played professionally, and my dad played in the NHL as well for Toronto Maple Leafs. So it definitely started with them, and I have an older brother who plays pro too, so kind of almost following in the family footsteps, if you want to say. And growing up in England, it was a little bit of a unique, different background, and I lived there until I was about 11 years old. My dad finished over there and coached and stuff, so that's how I grew up over there. And to be honest, hockey was never on over there. Like, it only come on in the middle of the nights and stuff, so it was so was so new to me and so unique, and that's why I really liked it over there. And everything over there was like, soccer, rugby, even darts is everything is ahead of hockey. So I really found hockey unique, and really loved it from when I first played.
Yeah, I mean, that's really cool, following in the family footsteps, as you said. Now, Brennan, think back. I want you to kind of take us back. Help us imagine that time and place moment. What was draft day like? Can you kind of describe that experience a little bit?
Draft day was awesome. It was, you know what? It felt like such a long day. It felt almost like 2 or 3 in one. I can remember it so clear too, like getting up and just working out, just basically trying to pass the time all day until the draft at 7 that night. And I mean, it was something cool to soak in the experience, and something I'll never forget. I remember just sitting there. I wasn't really nervous at all. I kind of knew, a certain area that I might go, and some teams who liked me and some who didn't. And ultimately came here to Arizona, and loved every second so far. But the draft was a great experience, and any player who gets to go to that, or parents or whatever, really try and soak it in, because it's just awesome time for your family, and just to know that all the hard work you put in is going to pay off.
Yeah, I'm sure. I mean, that must have been an incredible experience, definitely. And I know that you've had the opportunity now to play with local legend Shane Doan last season and Derek Steppen this year, 2 veterans that have kind of been mentors for you both on and off the ice. So were you able to pick their brain about hockey and even what you could do better, with the mindset that there's always room for improvement, of course?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I'm a big improving every day, and trying to take each day as it comes, but get better at something every single day. And those guys, talking about Shane Doan, he's played in the league for he played for 21 years, so it's a long time.
Yeah, definitely.
Seen a lot of guys come and go, and guys don't just stay in the league for that long without doing something. So I was always trying to pick his brain on certain stuff and learn the ins and outs of him, and what kind of made him tick and stuff. And he was a great guy. I was really happy to play with him. And then Step this year, he's played a long time with the Rangers, and us getting him this year has been big. I've played with him, pretty much on a line all year. So it's been a lot of fun, and it's cool to learn from guys who've just been played in the league a long time, and listen to the different stories and different plays and stuff from them. So it's a lot of fun.
And obviously, it's kind of paid off, at least in your first 2 years. You've been off to a really hot start the past 2 seasons, even breaking records like I mentioned earlier. So what do you attribute this early success to, would you say?
You know what? I'm pretty easygoing, but I'm just like I said earlier, I like to get better every single day. I like to improve on something. I feel that if you're not getting better, you're getting worse. So that's something I try and take into not only hockey every day, but just life in general, and just trying to be a good person, positive all the time, and improving. And it's been, last year we had different coach and different training staff and everything, and this year is completely new guys. So that's been a kind of a learning experience for me, and it's been a fun year so far. And we're starting to put some good games together now, and do really well, and hopefully we can just keep it going until the end of the season.
Yeah, I'm sure that was definitely an adjustment, to say the least. But we talked about earlier, Coyotes drafted you, and they've definitely been a great fit for you, I would say. What would you say is your favorite part about playing for the Arizona Coyotes?
I think hockey-wise, I think the people here, are really kind of laid back, and there's not crazy amount of pressure on you or anything like that, like there would be in a Canadian market or Original Six team. But the fans are very they're very loyal, and they're happy to see their team do well and stuff. And we've had 2 good teams this year and last year, as far as good guys to be around at the rink. No real guys who are moping or anything like that. So that's been the best part. And I think away from the rink, you can't not love the weather. Like, it's like summer year round here, so it's been awesome that way. And on off days you can get the golf and stuff, and just kind of get away from the rink, which is, it's so key. Like I said, compared to some cities like Winnipeg or Detroit or wherever, where it's, snow year round and stuff. We definitely have a nice little advantage out here for sure.
And have you personally ever been in one of those crazy NHL fights, or has that not happened yet?
No, not my NHL career yet. I have in junior, but it's not. I'm a lover, not a fighter. So.
That's gonna kind of wrap it up here. Good luck with the rest of your season, Brendan. All of that was really interesting. Thanks so much again for coming on the show to share. Where can our listeners go to kind of get more info or to connect with you?
I have my Twitter or Instagram, or actually Facebook too. It's just my name, Brendan Perlini, at BubsP11. And I should have a lot of stuff. I'm usually pretty active on there, or if they want to send me a message on there or whatever, that's fine. I'm usually on there quite a bit. So, thanks again for having me on the show. I really appreciate it. It's been fun.
Yeah, thanks for coming on. All right, everyone, we'll just take a short break. The Sports Watchdog Radio Show will be right back after this quick word.
Hey sports fans and gamers, check out the Zeiss VR1 Plus. It's great for anyone who loves adventure, learning, and exploring. The virtual reality headset offers hundreds of compatible app options, from videos, news, and gaming to exploring luxurious beaches in exotic locations, all from the comfort of your couch. And for kids, there are endless educational benefits with this headset, such as interactive and immersive learning experiences. Check it out at Zeiss.com, ZEISS.com.
You ready to hoop it up?
This is Happenings on the Hardwood.
Now, as always, at the end of the Sports Watchdog Radio Show here on NBC Sports Radio AM 1060, we're going to outlet over and focus on some hoops now. So we take a look at the NCAA basketball scene this week, as there was some pretty awesome news and then some pretty tragic news. So we'll start off with the good news first. University of Missouri is getting back their star forward. Michael Porter Jr. is returning from injury. He's been fully cleared to play again, and obviously this is such a big gain for University of Missouri after Michael Porter Jr. got injured in the preseason earlier this year, and now that we're 26 games into the season around that mark, Michael Porter Jr. is going to have to come in, and he's the type of player who's immediately going to bolster this Tigers team, both on the offensive end, on the defensive end, crashing the glass, really in all facets of their game. He's going to kind of improve their roster. And I know he already has a great relationship with the coach, with his teammates. He's been on the bench, every game supporting his team. But now he's kind of able to show what kind of impact he can have, not just on the community, not just on the school as a whole, but on the basketball court where he belongs. He was obviously one of the most highly touted recruits coming into this season, then got injured in the preseason, which was so hard for this Tigers team. And now since they've kind of overcome that, now they get him back right before March Madness, and maybe they can make a push for the tournament. Who knows? At this point, Michael Porter Jr., very streaky shooter, very aggressive scorer, very good defender as well. So he, like I said earlier, he's just the type of player who's going to immediately make this University of Missouri Tigers team that much more difficult to defend and that much more difficult to defeat for the rest of the season. Now, in other news, University of Arizona point guard Allonzo Trier has recently been banned from the rest of the season, or at least barred until further notice, for doping. In all honesty, he's been using performance enhancement drugs reportedly, and obviously this has happened before. It's all just a matter of cheating. That at the end of the day, that's what it is. It's really sad to see because Allonzo Trier, his draft stock was really high after the season. He's playing extremely well. If he were to leave school early and kind of put his name in the NBA draft mix and hat per se, I think, and I would have suspected that he would have gone probably in the first round, if not in the lottery, then maybe in the mid to late first round. If he did fall out, then probably fall just at the beginning of the second round. But still, now after these allegations come out, it's like, what NBA GM is going to take a risk on this kid? Because after cheating like this, no NBA GM is going to say, hey, I want that kid on my team. I want him to be the face of my organization. That's just not how the NBA works anymore. And you see it in baseball now. Barry Bonds still hasn't made it to the MLB Hall of Fame for doing the exact same thing, for using performance enhancement drugs. So, you look at DeAndre Ayton, another big player for Arizona. Can't make any false claims, obviously, but there's some really good players on this University of Arizona team. It kind of calls into question the culture of the school, but I mean, it kind of ties back into the Dallas story, like I was talking about earlier, the culture of basketball as a whole, because who knows if this is the only school that this is going on. I mean, maybe this is going on at other schools as well. It really calls into question. But obviously not taking anything away from the University of Arizona. The Wildcats have been successful for so many years now. It's just kind of sad to see that this story with Allonzo Trier is coming out, obviously going to impact his draft stock very heavily. So we'll just have to wait and see what consequences are really doled out for Allonzo Trier in the near future and see, I guess, in the future if he does decide to go make a push for the NBA, how that works out for him.
Well, that's a wrap, everyone. Anybody wanting to connect with me, the Sports Watchdog, on Twitter can do so at @SportsWatchdog, and on Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube as well at The Sports Watchdog. So until next time, keep your eye on the ball.
The Sports Watchdog.
The Sports Watchdog Ace and Kern.